The Precinct. Let's kick things off with a retro cop action game. It throws us back to 1983 in the fictional city of Aklev. I play as Nick Cordell, a rookie cop on his first day patrol, investigating his legendary cop father's death while fighting street gangs. The game starts right on day one. I hop into a Pontiac police cruiser, hit the sirens, and race to calls, everything from minor fender benders to full-blown shootouts with the mob. Gameplay mixes driving, high-speed chases, shootouts, and investigations. I interrogate witnesses, gather evidence, and make choices that affect my reputation. The vibe is pure 80s action movie, neon signs, VCRs, cool filters, and a solid soundtrack with synthwave and even some jazz. Honestly, it looks super stylish. But the mayhem? It gets absolutely wild, GTA style, and hey, the whole city is my playground. Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun. Okay, this is Warhammer. Classic Warhammer, the kind some folks might not know about, and even fans might have forgotten 10 times over. It's Boltgun, a retro first-person shooter that came out in 2023. I step into the boots of Space Marine Malamkedo. My mission? Get sent to the planet Graia and crush orcs, demons, and heretics in the name of the Emperor. It's a total love letter to classic 90s shooters like Doom, but set in Warhammer's grim dark universe, and the gameplay is pure, chaotic fun. I blast through levels tearing enemies apart with my bolt gun, chainsword, or plasma gun. The controls feel intuitive, paying homage to the classics but still modern. The key feature is that boomer shooter mechanic, no cover, just constant movement, shooting, and giving enemies with fountains of pixelated blood. Abilities like a health-stealing taunt or a dash for maneuvers add a little tactical spice. The levels aren't totally linear either, packed with secrets and arena sections you stumble into. Basically, if you love Warhammer and hardcore shooters, this is it. Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. Next up is Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon, a game I absolutely adore. It's a grim open-world role-playing game that recently hit full release. The story unfolds in a twisted version of Arthurian mythology where I play an outcast stranded on the Isle of Avalon, a place soaked in darkness and ancient secrets. Expect elements straight out of Skyrim and The Witcher, quests with moral choices, crafting, and non-linear storytelling. The plot? It's like a dark fairy tale where the myths of King Arthur collide with a nightmarish reality. Avalon here is far from paradise, it's more like a cursed island where magic, monsters, and betrayal shape the whole world. I start as literally nobody, just a prisoner, but through quests, I uncover secrets of the local tribes, ancient giants, and even Arthur himself, who left, let's say, an echo inside me. The dialogue is rich, with choices affecting faction relations and story branches. Lore is delivered through notes, there's trading with non-player characters, and the environment feels like a top-tier role-playing game. It's not a linear story, it's more like a mosaic where my decisions change the fate of tribes and the world itself. And honestly, it plays really well. Tainted Grail, Conquest. Okay, for those wanting to dive deeper into this universe, there's also Tainted Grail, Conquest. Honestly, it's a roguelike with deck building and RPG elements. It's set in the same dark Arthurian world as Avalon, but as a tactical card game. You play a hero fighting the Wordness, that's a magical plague that already destroyed Avalon. It was actually in the previous game too. The gameplay mixes deck building like Slay the Spire with role-playing and a grim story. You get tactical card battles. You build decks from attack, defense, and ability cards, combining them for cool synergies. Plus, there are 9 distinct classes, from Necromancer to Warrior, offering totally different playstyles. Like summoning skeletons or boosting magical strikes. Each run is a roguelike adventure with procedural events, your card choices, upgrades, and even the path you take affect your success. The fights require planning, though. Energy is limited, and enemies can hit really hard. Thankfully, the grind feels fair. And the atmosphere? Pure dark Arthurian legends with grim magic and desperation, making every run genuinely engaging. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Breakpoint. Why not? It's a third-person tactical shooter. The launch 6 years ago. Yeah, that was rough around the edges. But since then, a million patches have polished it up nicely. The story drops you onto the island of Oroa. You're Nomad, an elite ghost, taking on the rogue agent Cole Walker and his army of killer drones. It blends open-world exploration, stealth, and co-op for up to 4 players. The game's strong point. The visuals. Even after all this time, it delivers a stunningly detailed world. We're talking a massive tropical island with jungles, mountains, and high-tech bases, all incredibly detailed. Dynamic weather, from downpours to thick fog, affects visibility and forces tactical changes, while the day-night cycle adds great atmosphere. And playing with friends? That transforms missions into fun, tactical puzzles. One guy snipes, another assaults, a third hacks a drone, you work together the whole way. It really shines in co-op. Age of Wonders 4. A strategic masterpiece with deep RPG elements. Age of Wonders 4. I absolutely love this game and keep coming back to it. It's set in a rich fantasy universe where you forge your own custom faction. You pick your race, magic, and leader, then conquer the world through diplomacy, empire building, or, obviously, all-out war. It's a full 4X strategy, think explore, expand, exploit, exterminate, but with turn-based tactical combat. Basically, it's a sandbox paradise for strategy fans where customization rules. You create your faction by combining races like humans, orcs, elves, and more. Then you layer on their culture and magical tomes, things like fire, chaos, or nature. This affects everything, your units, spells, economy, even how they look on the battlefield. Combat is turn-based and tactical, demanding smart use of terrain, ability combos, and maybe summoning a dragon or demon. Exploring the map reveals dungeons, resources, and powerful ancient artifacts to aid your conquest. The diplomacy system lets you forge alliances or, just wipe out other races. Random events constantly pop up with little quests, making every single playthrough feel unique. The game looks gorgeous, and the sheer freedom to create anything, from necromancer orcs to technomancer gnomes, is incredible. Every faction truly plays differently. BlazBlue Entropy Effect. Next up is BlazBlue Entropy Effect. This is a fast-paced, anime-style action roguelike. You're a fighter battling in a cyberpunk simulation against waves of enemies and bosses. Expect super dynamic combat with roguelike mechanics and progression, kinda like Hades. Where it really shines is the visuals. The anime art style features incredibly detailed character and enemy sprites that come alive with super smooth, BlazBlue-inspired fighting game animations. The levels, from neon cyber cities to dark labs, are packed with flashy effects, think sparks, explosions, and light shows that go off with every hit. Gameplay-wise, you get 10 distinct characters, each with unique fighting styles, from sword wielders like Noel to gunners, letting you experiment with different tactics and builds. The roguelike elements, random upgrades, power-ups, and bosses, keep every single run feeling fresh and exciting. Kingdom 2 Crowns. Moving on to Kingdom 2 Crowns. This is another 2D game, but with a much more chill vibe. You play as a monarch building a kingdom, recruiting subjects, and defending against nightly hordes of these creepy creatures called the Greed. It blends minimalist tower defense strategy with roguelike elements and even has 2-player co-op if you want it. The gameplay is all about elegant simplicity. Seriously. You ride your horse, collect coins, build towers and farms, hire soldiers and workers. Basically, you develop your base during the day, and then when night falls, you defend against the Greed, who just keep getting tougher. Co-op lets you split duties with a buddy, and the roguelike elements add real tension. The game features different biomes, like medieval Europe or feudal Japan, that actually change up the game mechanics. It's cool how the minimalism doesn't sacrifice depth, every building and unit matters. The pixel art and soundtrack create this really meditative, yet still tense atmosphere. The Quarry. How about an interactive movie? A horror drama, to be precise, The Quarry. The story takes place at Hackett's Quarry summer camp, where 9 camp counselors get caught up with terrifying creatures and dark family secrets. It's a spiritual successor to Until Dawn, focusing on a cinematic story, player choices, and quick-time events. The story is absolutely the core. Think an 80s teen horror flick, but with modern production values. You control all 9 characters, and your decisions literally decide who lives and who ends up as monster food. Choices range from small dialogue picks to huge, life-or-death actions like running or hiding, leading to 186 possible endings. Yeah, you heard that right, 186 endings. The plot unravels the mysteries of the Hackett family, a werewolf, and the camp's curse through cutscenes and clues you find. The acting and facial capture are top-notch, and the sarcastic humor and romantic subplots add some welcome lightness between all the terrifying moments. And there are plenty of those. The game also has multiplayer co-op for up to 8 players, if that's your thing. Call to Arms, Gates of Hell, Ostfront. Okay, let's step back into strategy games for a minute. This is Call to Arms, Gates of Hell Ostfront. It's a gritty, real-time tactical slugfest with some shooter elements thrown in. You're thrown onto the Eastern Front of World War II, commanding either Soviet or German forces across campaigns, skirmishes, or multiplayer. It blends classic RTS gameplay like Company of Heroes with the ability to directly control any unit in third-person view. Honestly, if you love military sims, this is pure tactical heaven. You manage your whole army, building defenses, calling in reinforcements, planning attacks while considering terrain, weather, and supply lines. The killer feature. That direct control. You can jump into any tank or soldier and fire the weapons yourself, just like a shooter. The realism is seriously impressive. Bullets ricochet, vehicles break down realistically, and soldier morale plummets under fire. The campaigns are historical, featuring brutal missions like Stalingrad, so it's definitely gripping. Just remember, this isn't some casual RTS where micromanaging isn't needed. If you don't know your tactics, you will get crushed. Of course, that's assuming the AI doesn't get stuck somewhere weird, which, you know, can totally happen sometimes. Roboquest. Roboquest is one freaking awesome roguelite shooter. You play as a robot guardian battling hordes of enemies in these futuristic canyons. Think classic Doom speed meets roguelite progression, kinda like Risk of Rain. Visually it's cool, but the biggest gun in the game, besides the actual guns, is the soundtrack. It's pure electronic and drum and bass that constantly pushes you to keep the pace up and rush forward like crazy. It literally puts you into turbo mode, blasting away with a minigun. You've got several different classes to choose from, like sniper or engineer with deployable turrets, and you can bring along one friend to blast through the levels together in co-op. Co-op is a whole other level of fun, but even solo, this game is an absolute blast if you love fast-paced, run-and-gun action where everything looks slick and the music just pounds in your ears. This right here. This is the good stuff. Age of Mythology, Retold. Age of Mythology, Retold is a stunning remaster of the legendary 2002 RTS, Age of Mythology. It drops you into mythical times where you command ancient civilizations, build up your base, and crush your opponents in real time. Retold completely captures the spirit of the original game. Just like before, you pick your civilization and a major god, then head out onto the map. You build your base, gather resources, and raise armies made up of heroes, mythical beasts, and regular mortal units. The unique hook. Divine powers. You can call down meteors, heal your troops, or summon a bunch of animals, all depending on which god you aligned with at the start. Each of the 5 civilizations, counting the Chinese from the DLC, has its own gods and distinct playstyle. Greeks are strong with heroes, Egyptians, for example, rely on numbers. There's also a massive campaign with over 50 missions, and the multiplayer scene is still surprisingly active if you get that competitive itch. Overall, it's really well done, especially awesome for those of us who played the original way back when. Atomfall. Okay, let's talk about Atomfall. Honestly, a lot of folks seem to sleep on this one, which is a shame because it's a really cool action RPG with survival elements. Picture this, an alternate Britain in 1962, 5 years after a nuclear disaster hit a place called Windscale. You play as a survivor exploring this quarantine zone crawling with mutants, cultists, and military forces. It blends shooting and crafting in an open world that definitely takes cues from Fallout and STLKR. The story? It's this dark, moody detective tale straight out of those old British sci-fi shows from the 60s. After the Windscale meltdown, the quarantine zone became a hotbed for secrets, everything from robot experiments to creepy pagan cults. You uncover these conspiracies through quests, audio logs, and choices that actually affect the ending. Like, whether you side with the cultists or the military can change what missions you even get. The world itself is packed with little details. Find a metal detector and start digging up junk, or just go around smashing garden gnomes. Yeah, you get a Steam achievement for that. Each of these small touches really builds the atmosphere. The stealth and shooting feel pretty balanced, and the crafting gives you just enough survival options. Sure, there are some bugs, and the main story is kinda short, which might disappoint some, but man, that 60s Britain vibe, with its pubs and mutated, well, everything, is super immersive and pulls you right in. Dune, Spice Wars. Now, this isn't the big movie one, that's awesome, but this is different. This is a real-time strategy game with 4x elements. As you probably know, it's all set on Arrakis, where you take control of one of the factions fighting for control over the spice. It mixes real-time strategy action, kind of like StarCraft, with deeper diplomacy and economics you'd find in Civilization. Each faction plays totally differently. The Atreides? Strong in diplomacy. The Harkonnens? All about sabotage and straight-up battles. The Freemen? Masters of surviving the harsh desert. It all feels pretty true to the books. You harvest spice, build bases, recruit units, and run spy operations, constantly balancing your economy against your military power. The coolest feature. The dynamic map. Sandworms, storms, and uprisings can completely wreck your plans at any moment. The battles are tactical but not overly complex. And I highly recommend getting into the espionage system, it's super useful and actually really fun. Plus, it's just neat to play as your favorite faction from the books or movies, with familiar faces like Paul, Leto, or the Baron himself. Every single playthrough feels unique because of it. MechWarrior 5, Clans. Finally, gotta remind you about this awesome mech action sim, MechWarrior 5, Clans. This one drops you into the BattleTech universe in the year 2050. You're a pilot in Clan Smoke Jaguar, leading their invasion into the inner sphere. Unlike the sandbox style of MechWarrior 5, Mercenaries where you managed a whole merc outfit, Clans focuses tightly on a story-driven campaign. And that story? It's the game's strong point, diving deep into BattleTech lore. You play as Jade, a newbie warrior in the clan, and your unit goes through the whole brutal experience of war and betrayal during the invasion. The story unfolds through cinematic cutscenes and dialogues that really dig into the clan's motives and the pilot's personal dramas. Choices in conversations can affect mission parameters and how people treat you, but the ending path stays mostly linear. Of course, like any good mech game, besides the epic battles, there's a ton of customization for your giant war machines. Swapping out everything from lasers and autocannons to armor types lets you build your absolute dream machine. The campaign isn't super long, figure around 50 hours, but that's actually perfect for really enjoying the ride without overstaying its welcome. Alright, that's it for these picks. Hope you found something here that sparks your interest. Hit me up in the comments below and let me know what you're playing right now.